Welcome to episode 122 of the Guardian 1 podcast. We record live Thursdays at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, right here on twitch.tv/Guardian 1 Network. My name is Remy, and tonight I am joined by Jez.
Good morning.
Agrios.
Greetings, Guardians.
Sharks.
Oh my god, Fuzzle's in the house!
Gray.
Good evening, everybody.
And our very special guest this evening, Fuzzle.
Guten Abend, Hüter.
We are going to be talking about all things Destiny, but first, housekeeping.
Hello, Guardians. Thank you for listening to the podcast, however it is that you are choosing to listen. Be sure to follow Guardian 1 on Twitter at G1net. That's G1NET. In addition, be sure to check out the Guardian 1 website at guardian1.net. If you want to send us an email, you can send it to feedback@guardian1.net. We also have a Budgie.net forums group. We utilize the forums for both comments and feedback, so be sure to join the conversations going on there. Big thank you to all those currently in the Twitch chat. As Remy said at the top of the podcast, you can watch the show live at twitch.tv/Guardian1 Network. We broadcast every Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. If you can't catch the live show, you can always find the podcast on iTunes, as well as upload it to the Guardian 1 YouTube channel at youtube.com/Guardian1 Network. Guardian 1 is a proud member of the Guardian Radio Network, so be sure to check out the Guardian Radio Network website at theguardiansofdestiny.com. There you'll find all of the different podcasts as part of the network, including the flagship podcast Guardian Radio. They broadcast every Monday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Guardian Radio. You can also follow their Twitter account at Guardians of D and their YouTube channel, youtube.com/Guardians of D. Other podcasts that are part of the Guardian Radio Network include Ghosts and Echoes, a podcast that contains a bit of fan fiction and audio versions of the Grimoire cards, as well as the Destiny lore-focused podcast called Focus Fire Chat. Once again, thanks for joining us on the podcast. I'll see you again next week.
Alrighty, thank you very much again, Hollow River. Excellent show tonight. Very excellent show. Episode 122. We have Fuzzle from the Destiny, the game Reddit. Fuzzle, how you doing tonight?
Very tired, but I'm glad to be here.
What time is it there?
It is 5:19 p.m. a.m. Sorry.
That's crazy. Yeah, I was. I don't like to push people into doing things they don't want to do. And so when you told me, oh, I totally could, but that's like 5 o'clock in the morning where I am, I thought, you know what? I don't want to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning either. So that's that. And then I sicked sharks on you. And look, you're on the show. Congratulations.
It apparently worked.
It is really great to have you here. You are one of the first personalities in the community that I really had a strong draw to. Like you seem to live by this code of honor. What's really interesting is you can't meet these people in real life. All you can do is, when the moment you're seeing these people is what they've written on their wall and how they carry themselves online. And the way you carry yourself is really cool. It's really approachable, very knowledgeable, and someone who's not just going to BS. You're not interested in spreading any kind of, even things that are true. Like you posted that video, that Vex, and you said it was too hot for your channel. What does that even mean?
First of all, I'm very flattered. I don't think anyone ever made such a compliment to me, but thank you. The Vex footage was kind of iffy to put on my YouTube channel because Activision is known to copyright strike everything. So I don't really want my channel, which is small, and I don't really upload anything. I just don't want anything to do with any drama. I'm like the most peaceful guy ever. I only want happiness, and so yeah, I want to stay out of trouble. I want to talk about my favorite thing in the universe, Destiny, and that's it.
That's excellent and smart, and clearly a man of my own heart. Because I don't want drama, I don't want any bad times. I just want to have a good time, And so, man, I have so many questions. Okay, so I'd like to know where it started for you with video games. Like, what was the first system that you had? And I'm talking about, like, maybe not the first time you played video games, but the first time you thought, oh boy, this is this is amazing, and I can't wait to spend hours and hours and hours playing more. And then second part to that is, where did it start for you for Destiny? So first part, video games in general, and then I want you to go into explaining what it was that drew you to Destiny. Like, you are a huge member of the community, and you didn't get that way by not doing anything. So the stage is yours.
Okay, so it all started with my father that always played Halo 1 on his PC. I wasn't supposed to watch when I was like 8, 7, but I watched through the cracks of the door what he was playing. Always Pill of Autumn, the first level on easy, because he couldn't do anything otherwise. And I just fell in love with that game. I always wanted to play it. Always told him, hey, I want to play this game. This looks so amazing. And when my mother wasn't there, he took me on his lap, and we played the first mission of Halo on easy. And that's kind of where everything fell into place, where I found my love for video games at all. I never had really game consoles. I never had the money for it. But as soon as I could, I got my first super crappy PC with Halo 1. And I probably played that for 5 years straight. Just online, Blood Gulch, CTF, 16 players, and the Halo 1 pistol. And that's pretty much the only thing I played. Just
that's really that's really fantastic. And what a great first game. Like, I have a feeling that I'm going to say that to everybody that we have on the show. Like, oh, what was the first game that really got you into video games? Oh, that was a great first game. But seriously, Halo 1, it really changed a lot. It changed a lot in gaming, both in terms of what you see and what you feel when you play. And so, what a great story, sneaking peeks through the crack and seeing Halo. Like, that's magical. Both in terms of the content is really good, and also it wasn't, some kind of like a horror movie or something that scarred you for life, and now you're not talking to us on this podcast, but you're like on this, oh, I'm really digging spooky stuff podcast. So, okay, great. So where did it start with Halo for you? Was it just a handoff? You played Halo 1, and then you watched the Halos throughout the years, and then boom, here is Bungie's next big thing. How did that open up for you? And after your initial reaction and that, how did you step into the online traffic and make a name for yourself and be that person that does what you do?
That's a lot of questions.
It is a lot of questions.
So with Halo, I always had this super crappy PC with Halo 1, but I always dreamed of playing the newer Halos, because the first time I ever could afford, and I saved a long time for this, first time I ever could afford a gaming console was with Halo Reach. Just at the end of the cycle of Halo 3, I bought a 360 with Halo Reach, and like before that, I only watched montages and people playing Halo 3. I read all the forums. I was talking with everyone about it, and I was always a lurker. I never really talked to anyone because I couldn't speak English. So my English was terrible back then.
But you could read it and understand it?
I kind of couldn't, but I loved just sharing my Halo love. But
just
I
hitting
only
the
understood
translation button.
Oh, I wish I had that back then. But yeah. So the first time I ever came into contact with a community and the online community was probably where the HC in my name stems from, which is halocustoms.com, which is a website for mini games and custom games in Halo. So we organized mini game lobbies, and everyone could host. And it's just a web page dedicated to having fun with people in custom games, because I wasn't that big of a competitive player on console. I just wanted to have fun in Halo. So I joined that forum, and I was pretty obsessed with it. I collected like 300 custom maps from Forge. I collected them all into a playlist so everyone could quickly skim through all the maps they could use. So I just created resources, and I eventually became staff on that site because I was on there all day. So that's kind of my roots for any community interaction, and that's kind of where I fell in love with interacting with people and creating. Like I already moderated there, and that's just creating a space for people to have fun in their favorite video game. Yeah,
That's really cool. I enjoyed Halo Customs. I played a lot of Halo 1. I didn't play a lot of Halo 2. I showed up for Halo 3 like day of, like I had been reading about it and it looked really fantastic and I was really getting excited for it. And so the day after release of Halo 3 is when I signed up for my Bungie.net account, because I knew like what I had to do was play the game and make sure that it was worth putting my time into. If it wasn't going to be the game that I was expecting or wanted or didn't know that I was asking for, then I wasn't going to invest myself in the community. Like Bungie's always been cool, but it's not, I've never been this fanboy over a game company. Like I always knew Bungie was awesome and always gave them the props they deserved. But yeah, the day after Halo 3 launched, and I just started putting myself as well into a lot of these sites, Halo Customs and Forge Hub. I spent a lot of time there, trying to get people to rally around some maps that I had made. Like I wanted to be this map maker, like making maps in Halo was like, I don't know, it's like art, it's like sculpting or painting,
people look up to you if you make a good one.
Right. Yeah. Who is it? Duquesne. He remade Forge World in Halo 5. That's fantastic.
Yes.
That is
Duquesne
amazing.
23, yeah.
He's got so many great skills, and every time I see him post, it makes me want to play Halo 5. And then when I get into that new Forge, I'm so lost. And I don't know why they didn't carry over some of the controls that Bungie had put in, like up and down on the right bumpers. Always made a lot of sense to me, and now it's not like that, and I don't understand, and I don't want to learn it. But every time he posts something, it's great. So very cool time to get into the community, because that means that you were all ready for when Destiny showed up. So you made your name with this Halo Customs community, and you built yourself in with these Halo players. That's great, Jez. And so then Destiny came out, and were you thinking to yourself, like, maybe I'll continue doing all of these other games, or did you decide to just focus on Destiny? Because I don't really see you post about anything else.
Oh yeah, I was just talking Halo every day with my friends, and we saw that Bungie went live, and we always wondered, what is their next big thing? And I was always like, Bungie for me was this entity, this godlike, when I was a kid, this godlike entity that made my favorite game of all time. So I just wanted to know what the next big thing is. I wanted to be a part of it from day one. I was extremely hyped for whatever they would ever release. So I was just patiently, while I was in my Halo Customs community there, just patiently waiting for any word from Bungie, getting out of the darkness and telling us about their new project. So I was very early on there, just discussing all the things that Bungie released, and try to find out new things about their game. So yeah, it's I always try to read the Bungie posts. They occasionally did an update. That's where I kind of learned my English as well. So back in the day, their English was super cryptic. They used all these fancy words. I always had to look them up. I really remember just having to look up every second word in this article. But I just loved to learn about this new adventure, and I wanted to go on it. And yeah,
That's really cool.
I wasn't really in the community at first, but then the Destiny ARG Alpha Lupi happened, and that kind of drew us all together. Have you heard of that?
Yes, of course. I was there for the Alpha Lupi whole deal,
Nice.
and I remember them saying, "Okay, well, contact this account, and they will send you this thing when Destiny comes out." And I forgot to do it, and every single time I see you logged on, I see that that emblem, and I think, it's so frustrating because
So
you
Remy,
what.
and Fuzzle, I think you need to, because we have people out in the world watching our podcast that have no idea what you two are talking about right now. So maybe you should explain to the world what that is, for those of us that don't know.
Go ahead, Remy.
Go ahead, Fuzzle.
I can do it. So yeah, there was this. Bungie was having a really tight lip on Destiny, and we were very desperate for any news. So we found this, or one person on the forums found this ominous account on Bungie.net, which was called Alpha Lupi, I think, and he had a distinct forum emblem, which we've never seen before. So that means that's a Bungie account, and he was posting very weird things, such as something's falling towards you, or you're falling towards it. So very cryptic messages, and eventually I think a link to a website. And this website was very cryptic as well. We had to match patterns of the solar system, like to access the page, and then we had to eventually figured out that we had to get as many people as on the page at the same time, so that the page would automatically create an image, and we had to do that every day. And very smart people smarter than me. I was just a sheep following. I think it was NCSU Duncan back then that kind of did everything.
Yes.
They figured out an algorithm, filtered all the images together to create a complete image that would eventually lead us to a website with the first Destiny wallpaper, which was the Traveler, and the first Destiny soundtrack. And of course, it said authenticate, follow, and you're gonna get rewarded or something. And that's where you had to follow the original Bungie account that started it all to get the Alpha Lupi emblem. So this is kind of a thing that we all had to band together, get as many people as possible to coordinate, go on the site to figure something out directly. And that's kind of the smartest thing Bungie could have ever done, because that's where the community started, for me at least.
That's really cool. Yeah, I was there, and it was really fun to watch. Like you were saying, some people in the community much smarter than myself, putting these things together, and it was really fantastic to watch it go down. And I thought, I will message this account tomorrow. How could I forget about this? And I never remembered. And like I said, every single time you log on.
Sorry, I'm just not gonna log on anymore.
Right.
To anyone that hasn't been with us for a while, the best analogy recently is the Owl Sector thing.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That was another community-driven ARG. Something that Bungie loves.
Something that Bungie loves, and something that I love. I love when people put this kind of effort out there. You said at one point, Fuzzle. You said at one point, Fuzzle. You said at one point, this Bungie was like this godlike company, and I feel like they still very much are. I feel like among other companies, even other big companies, they've always had a really very defined outlook on making games, a very defined process for making games, and it really just comes back to excellent gameplay and excellent. Just everything. Everything is excellent. Even what seem to be their missteps or the pebbles along the way. It's all been really great, and it all has this Bungie feel to it. And the ARGs are huge. I don't know that I ever would have figured any of that out. it's just I wouldn't even know where to start. As a matter of fact,
Bungie culture is just this very cool thing. They just have style. I mean, back in the day,
that's
in
it. Style.
Halo days, were more sassy about it. So they just said, "You have no rights. Play nice." But right now, our community is not compatible with that kind of Bungie attitude. They always had a tight lip. They didn't communicate as much, as far as I could tell, because I was very, very much younger back then. But yeah, they changed a little bit. They had to change it because Destiny is such an interconnected game and the fan base is so passionate. If Bungie did the same thing or treated us the same way, I think people would riot. As back in the day.
You really hit the nail on the head there, because they definitely were much more sassy back then. They still have this side to them. There's been a couple of times in the Bungie weekly updates where I've thought, oh man, they're getting punchy, but you're totally right. They've refined, they've grown, and I feel like, when you are someone like Bungie, who does have a community of people who are interested in what you're saying, it is up to you to be the tone that you want to see in your community. Do you want a bunch of people who are going to say back to you, just fix this? Or are you going to want people in your community talking about how we are discussing what's in front of us? I think it's a very important aspect of what they do. And you totally hit the nail on the head there. Excellent. Excellent. Great. Why don't we open up the floor to panel questions? Gray, what question or questions do you have for Fuzzle?
Oh, so this week I can be first? This week it's okay?
This week it's you only.
It's only the only one. And I have to ask 6 questions. That's great. Fuzzle, if you didn't listen last week, usually Remy has me speak first, and which is fine. I'm just kind of used to unmuting at that time, except last week. You didn't want to hear what I had to say, so.
And so now I'm just going to say, all right, Gray, what do you think Sharks is going to say about this?
Sharks, yeah, exactly.
What do you think Jez is going to say about this?
So, unfortunately, Fuzzle, I'm probably the most out of the loop because I don't participate much in the Destiny Reddit, and I haven't had the chance yet to play with you on PlayStation, mainly because I'm pretty new to even having a PlayStation. I mainly play on the Xbox. What I'm really curious about is what sort of things do you do outside of Destiny? What things kind of make up who Fuzzle is as a person outside of the game that kind of drives you to be even the person you are in the game?
I am a student, most of all. I have a lot of free time, so I use that free time to do whatever I love the most. So just producing a space for people to talk about Destiny is the thing I probably love the most, and I've spent tons of time into that. So as a student, I can afford that. I'm just the guy that never shuts up, likes to hang out with friends. I'm kind of a different person in German because I'm more secure in what I'm saying, if I'm saying it in German, of course. So
right, you don't want to slightly misstep. There's a fine line between really funny and offensive.
Yeah, like when I'm at Gamescom, for example, with all the Destiny and Bungie guys, I usually shut up and I try not to tell any jokes because it's usually not funny. So people think I'm quiet, but I'm just not English. So if everything was
oh, that's great, Fuzzle. People think I'm quiet, I'm just not English. Oh, that's got to be a meme somewhere. I like it.
I want to just be clear right here, Fuzzle. You speak English better than some Americans I know. Just want to put that out there.
Yeah, I want to put that out there as well. I didn't want to bring it up because I don't want you to get stage fright and then just only answer in German, which would be cool. I'm not going to lie. German sounds great.
Das können wir so machen, ja.
Right? That's really great. The only German I know is Arschgeige.
Arschgeige, yeah. That's a pretty colorful word, actually.
Am I going to have to change the settings on the podcast to be adult only?
Only if we start broadcasting mostly in Germany.
Sure. So Fuzzle, what are you studying?
What am I studying, or where?
What?
Okay. It's informatics. Like, wait, is that a word in English? I'm not sure. Programming, I guess. And
okay.
With a touch of behavioral psychology and marketing. So I kind of know what people think. I know how to influence them a little bit professionally. Not that I do that with my voice. Don't worry. And I am planning to be able to at least produce software for companies and maybe games, but that would be only in my free time.
Great.
So, yeah.
For those in the chat who are watching live, that's why we actually don't have Fuzzle's face on the stream right now. Is he'd be way too good at manipulating each of us and for you in the chat, and you'd end up buying more Destiny figures than you already are. So, I do have some other questions, but I'm going to give the rest of the panel an opportunity because I don't want to steal them if they already have them.
Which is why I went to you last week. You be stealing people's questions. I'm watching Sharks sit here and rip up pages of notes after every question you ask. Why don't we go to you, Sharks? What is your question or questions for our very special guest, Fuzzle?
All right, Fuzzle. Well, the thing is, like, people don't really. There are a lot of people out there that don't understand how Reddit is. Can you explain to everybody out there what exactly, as a mod, you're doing on Reddit for Destiny?
And then after that, I want you to explain what it's done to you mentally, because I sometimes see these very, very fragile and scared tweets about what am I doing to myself, basically is what your tweets amount to, because of what's happening. So yeah, so first Shark's question, whatever that was, and then mine.
Very quick roundup on what Reddit is. It's people think of Reddit as one giant beast and they're super overwhelmed, but Reddit is just a giant cluster of little communities. So we have our own little space, the Destiny, the game subreddit. The Destiny subreddit was already taken by a streamer, so that's why it's Destiny the game, by the way.
Cool.
And just for us, everyone can post something they like. It used to be links and self-posts, so links would be, hey, I give this a title and put a link and hit send, and people can easily go to the site that I wanted them to see. But right now we limited it to self-posts, which is, hey, you have to actually write about it. You have to actually add text, so it's not low effort spam you can actually submit. Everyone sees these posts under a certain filter that's called new. And the people that are in new see unfiltered posts and up and down vote depending on whether it's relevant or they like it. And that's how the relevant content goes to the top. And the irrelevant spam gets filtered out. And yeah, and the top posts fall down. Like there's some math behind it, how long something stays on the front page. And the front page is usually what our normal users see. So it's just a perfect way to stay up to date on topics and to crowdsource the best content out there. Now, what we moderators do, like if you think of this system, okay, it's user moderated. People downvote what's irrelevant and people upvote what's cool. So what do we need moderators for? We moderators uphold the rules that we set in the first place for the subreddit, so it stays on topic. Like we've seen very popular funny memes or whatever of spin metal in real life and stuff, but that's not relevant to Destiny and would potentially take the space on the front page for one well-written, thought-out discussion. So we moderators, although things are well received, remove sometimes things. We curate, and we basically protect our users from others abusing the community. So we say, hey, you're spamming too much, stop it. Or hey, please keep it civil down here. Since we've been so big, like we are one of the biggest and most active subreddits, we actually don't. It's become quite. The moderator team is like we have 16 people, so we're a giant cluster of democracy based. We are all equal. We talk every day in our Slack chat. We discuss posts. We talk trash. We play with each other. And yeah, we were just saying, hey, have you seen this post? What are your thoughts on it? Should this guy deserve a ban, or what are you doing with these? So Reddit itself does not stay on topic and is easily abusable without moderators. So it's basically our job to keep the community healthy, to keep it civil, to keep it on topic, and to enforce our rules.
Now, we obviously, being a podcast, we use a lot of news, and we love going to Reddit. Some of us more than others. Obviously, Agrios is the mod, so he loves it, and I love going there too. But when you go, when an outsider goes into Reddit, it's hard for people to decide what is relevant or not, or not even relevant, but whether it's actually real news or not. And it seems to me that you guys pretty much stay on top of that. You'll kind of have somebody in there posting, this is spin foil and this is actually real news. How, as a mod, do you guys actually keep on top of that and actually figure out whether it's real news or not? Or is it sometimes you guys are just guessing?
So we as moderators, if we do not have any evidence of the legitimacy of something, we will not downright remove it. We will sometimes sticky comments saying, hey, guys, keep this, take this with a grain of salt. Although highly upvoted, this does not make it suddenly true, because people love to put on their spin foil hats and spin metal hats, I guess, and just speculate about stuff. That doesn't make it any more relevant, which is something we should probably tell most news outlets, which like every week we have another news outlet just taking everything on our subreddit for like news, which is often just speculation. We look at those things and say, okay, we believe in our user base to make their own decisions whether this is legit or not. We're not gonna make this decision for them unless it's like super low effort troll bait or somebody that's just basically insulting everyone, just somebody breaking the rules. So if it's not technically breaking our rules, and we're very like strict with that, we let the community decide what they do with that information. So you're gonna see some stuff on there that's like I wouldn't like to see on there, but that's none of my business. If the community likes to see it on there, they're gonna upvote it and it's gonna stay there. We can give additional information, but everything else is kind of crowdsourced. So we are not there to curate content. We're just there to trim the hedges.
Now, obviously, with 16 people working in it, it helps a lot. But it's still the Reddit. I mean, you can go on now, and then you can go on at the end of our podcast, and there can be tons of new stuff on there. And this kind of goes into what Remy was asking you. How do you do it without going completely bonkers? Obviously, based off your posts, you are going bonkers.
Well, not only that, but like there's spoilery type things. I'm very curious to know what it looks like drinking from the fire hose like that. You just everything, made up stuff, new information, opinion.
That's That's true. I kind of forgot about the question. I didn't avoid it. Sorry. It's really drinking from the fire hose. You're gonna see a lot of stuff that you would rather not. Like, I've seen some shit. Believe me. I know things in the community that probably shouldn't be talked about. Just some drama. I like to stay out of it. I'm always behind the scenes and knowing things. And it's changed me a little. I'm a little bit more cynical than the average user, I guess. If somebody's posting something, I tend to immediately think, what is he having out of it? Or like, is he trying to manipulate, or is there any harm to it? Like, I'm kind of thinking of what's the worst thing that can happen with this post. So yeah, I'm a lot more cynical, because we have seen some very disturbing people, which have kind of made me like my faith in humanity is kind of lost on Reddit. But you kind of like you're so exposed to these trolls and people that are just trying to be offensive, that you grow a hard skin, and you know that that's not what like everyone's like. There's just people trying to exaggerate, people trying to offend, people just make us get as much attention as possible, the worst things they could think of. So it doesn't really affect myself in real life, but when I'm moderating, I'm typically thinking, okay, is there anything fishy about this, instead of being very open-minded and I can't think of the word. I guess I usually gave them the benefit of the doubt, everyone, and I thought positively about everything. But right now, as a moderator, after 2.5 years, I've seen so much shit that I'm usually very cautious and just looking at things very critically, I guess.
Okay, so when I asked you this question, I thought about it in terms of this is just the Destiny the game Reddit. That's correct?
Yes.
Damn, and this is just the Destiny the game Reddit. Like, what you're describing is what I imagined all of the other Reddits to be like,
It's way worse. Like, our safe space is like one of the best places.
And it's still crazy?
And it can get crazy. Like, I accumulated a lot of experience around that. It's not always crazy. It's just that the most impactful ones stick out more, and I've seen quite a lot of stuff. But seeing the whole Reddit picture, we have like the best user base you could think of. And like, people thank us all the time. They're super friendly, and we're quite happy with our user base and the people on Reddit as a whole, because there's such a stark contrast between the rest of Reddit and our Destiny the game subreddit.
Excellent. And it really is. Jez, what is the question you have for our very great guest, Fuzzle?
I mean, I had a couple through my head while waiting. Mostly what I want to know is what are some deep, dark secrets you tell about Cosmo?
Oh, yeah. Let's go here.
Sorry, I'm not gonna. Let's
sign the NDA.
What happens in mod chat stays in mod chat.
Yeah.
There's not a lot I can say. He likes
an NDA in mod chat.
He likes cats. That's great.
He puts a cat in every Bungie weekly update he writes. Did you know that?
I did know that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, there's not a lot I can tell you about Cosmo. I'm sorry. But like, I wish I would have played with him more back in the day. He was always this like, Cosmo was always there when we needed him. He was a great, like, the top moderator you always come to with the most difficult decisions and the most official statements, and Cosmo is just somebody that carries that just he's made for that stuff. He handles that perfectly well. So I always admired him for that.
Well, then he's definitely in the right position now. Who took over for him afterwards? Was there like a knighting ceremony?
Kinda. I guess it's kind of difficult on Reddit. It's not like you can just click on somebody and say, you're a top mod now. The top mod, like everyone that comes after you in the moderator list, you can remove. So the top moderator has to be the one in charge. And he basically can delete the subreddit, for example. Or not delete it, but like make it private and make all the decisions. It basically comes down to him. So Cosmo invited Lobster, which is an amazing top mod right now, which is a Reddit veteran, just our own nice guy. He knows all the things. He has so much experience moderating and just being a public figure, and he goes into a conflict with the most toxic people and just lawyers the shit out of them. Just super nice but super strict, and just the perfect fit that Cosmo found there as a top mod, and I love that guy. So the ceremony was quite complicated, so we all had to go out, like leave the moderation team. So if you look at the moderation page, it's not going to say I moderated for 2.5 years, because there was this break where I had to leave the moderator Reddit page. And then he joined as the top mod. Then Cosmo resigned, he left. And then we had to join in the order back again, because we wanted to keep the order, because I was like, the first ones are always on the top page. Like you can always see my name on the top page on every Reddit page, and I kind of wanted to keep that because that's kind of cool. So we had to coordinate with 15 people to click on accept moderator, and some people were just missing, and we were all waiting, and it just took hours. So it was kind of crazy. It was fun. And I'm super happy with my whole mod team. I love those guys. They are my family right now. I talk to them every day, and I can talk shit with them. I can have quarrels with them. We fight a lot about decisions, and in the end we do a democratic vote about everything, because we're all equal. It's just like we probably have hundreds of thousands of text messages in our Slack chat, because we are just such a lively, friendly group of people that all love Destiny. So I really love the mod team. I'm very happy to be part of it, and I think Lobster is a perfect top mod.
Excellent answer. Excellent description of how that went down. I'm glad that I didn't have to be part of it, but it's very cool to hear about. Okay, Agrios, you were on this Destiny the Game subreddit with Fuzzle. So you guys know each other from a long time ago. And actually, not many people know this, but before Agrios joined, I was like, look, dude, you got to quit that Destiny the subreddit crap. That shit's going nowhere fast. And then he was like, well, no, it's really cool. I enjoy doing it. And I flew out there to Florida, and I pissed in the bushes all around his house just to let him know I was serious. I didn't even go in. I just got back on the next plane and flew back over here. So Agrios, what question do you have for your dear friend Fuzzle?
Oh, wait, and you got to admit now that you were totally wrong in doing that.
I don't know that I have to do that.
I knew Fuzzle from long before either one of us were moderators. Actually, back when we were digging for info and posting every little juicy tidbit we could find. Back when we didn't know, what was going on with Destiny at all. We didn't even know what the characters were going to be like and stuff. And I was scouring the web over because they wouldn't even tell all the news organizations the same stuff. That's how cryptic they were being with this. They would go tell some Brazilian magazine all the same stuff they told everyone else, but one more thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, and they just tell one different detail to every one of these magazines and all over the planet. So I have spent so much time translating articles.
Wait.
All right. So
we
go
lost
back to
translating
go back
articles.
go back to where your hand was like this.
Translating articles. Oh no, it's gone again. Oh. You said translating articles last.
Yeah, I'm having a bad connection for some reason. I don't know why. I'm like hardwired and stuff. But yeah, so Fuzzle was my German translator. He worked with me on finding out the juicy tidbits from my German articles and posting them on the subreddit. And then eventually they asked me to be a moderator. And I knew nothing about Reddit but participating. The Destiny of the game was my first experience with the subreddit or with any Reddit period. And but I loved helping out. So I was just a glorified like post acceptor and deleter. I didn't know anything else about doing anything and whatnot. And then there was an opportunity to bring on more mods, and I very vocally supported Fuzzle coming on board at that point in time. And all the rest is history.
As a side note, on in our clan, we have Striker. Striker Codex was a mod, and to this day, it's still, there's something going on subreddit. Striker, take him down.
So did you?
I don't think it likes it anymore.
Did you have a question, Agrios?
Yeah. I just did when I cut off Jez there. He was typing it. So the thing I'd like to know is what experience.
Okay.
Either directly with Bungie or just in the community. When
Can you repeat that part because
ask him again.
You cut out.
Oh no, I'm having such bad connection. So, what's your favorite experience? The most important experience that was brought to you from being a part of the community, either part of the community or as part of your interaction with Bungie's as being a moderator. What's the most memorable thing that would have never happened if you hadn't become involved with that?
First of all, I loved the back then when we scoured the internet for every piece of information. That was probably the most fun I ever had. Just hunting everything down. I think I translated for you that the hunters could be invisible and do stealth kills and stay undetected and stuff, which is not a thing. But our minds went crazy with the translations and. Like all the bits and pieces we scraped together gave us this weird image of Destiny that I kind of became too fantastic to be true. But I just loved scouring the internet with you and everyone else on Reddit for this information. So the thing that's probably stands out the most, which is kind of obvious, I guess, is Gamescom. So being a moderator and being a little bit known in the community gave me the opportunity to actually like contact Bungie. Hey, I'm going to Gamescom. You're going to be there. Can we meet up? The first year was super and utter chaos. Deej and I missed each other. I didn't have any official passes or anything, and I kind of found Alan in More Console randomly on the show floor, and he took me into the Destiny booth and gave me, like, that was the year with the Moon mission. We could play the beta again, play the Moon mission again at Gamescom, and that was kind of the first experience that was awesome. But the most awesome thing was probably the last Gamescom, because I was officially invited by Activision Bungie, and I was on the private matches stream, which was super short notice, as last week, Bungie follower Ronan told you, he asked me to actually tweet about the event, and I told him, yeah, okay, I'm going to do that. Maybe I'm going to get a call from Activision, though, so I'm not sure if I actually head over there. And I didn't think about it, but they actually gave me a call. Hey, can you be in 2 hours in Cologne, which is 2.5 hours away? And then, sure. So I jumped into the next train to Cologne and was picked up by an Activision Germany employee, and he brought me to this streaming space before the Gamescom actually opened, and then I was on the front row of the public private match stream, which was streamed to 150,000 people. That was probably the coolest thing that ever happened to me. So,
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I don't think that would have happened without Reddit. So I guess that's my favorite memory. And I still, like, this is nerdgasm territory. Is every time I think of it, I'm grinning from one ear to another. So that was the coolest moment ever. And that's I'm super thankful for that opportunity to be there and just, yeah.
Awesome.
That's really cool. That's a really great story, Fuzzle. You kick ass, and keep kicking ass. Okay, so I want to know what you guys think about this, because I've been thinking a lot about, like, I just really keep going back and forth between, all right, they're not going to give us anything, to, all right, they're going to give us everything. And that's really the only place I really stop, because, like, you know, some people are saying that maybe a couple of emblems will carry over, but how do you determine which ones are important? You know, is it the ones that you earned at the end of the year for those moments of triumph, or is it ones that you actually paid money for, or, you know, where do you draw the line? And so I started thinking about it in terms of other aspects of the game. And when I think about the subclasses, they're all really cool. They all serve a really specific skill. I mean, most of them are DPS, but something like the Defender Titan, that's just a really sweet bubble that protects you from outside influence. And so I want to know what you guys think are the subclasses carrying over, because I kind of feel like what Bungie has put in front of us is, you know, 9 pieces of a chessboard. You know, each of these does a different thing, or a slightly different thing. Fuzzle, do you think that the subclasses are carrying over?
Yeah, that's a good question. I thought about that before. I think you posted a poll on Reddit.
I did, and it's gone crazy. I can't wait to read this. Yeah.
I think, like, there's some evidence. We saw the fiery shots of the Titan, the Warlock, and the Hunter with a shield, with a spear, and a sword, I think. Like, way back in those this Destiny 2 teaser leaks, whatever. Like, this is the only evidence we have that there might be different subclasses. Apart from that, like, do you remember those?
Yeah, you know what? I actually believe that that what we saw there was the Defender Titan, the Night Stalker Titan, or the Night Stalker Titan, the Night Stalker Hunter, and then the Sunsinger Warlock. Like, because when I see that picture of the Hunter, I think this could very easily be what ended up becoming the Night Stalker. When I see that Titan, I think to myself, that could very easily have been the Defender Titan. Like, I think that if you know, they just seem too similar to what's already happening. And that Warlock picture looks like Fireborn. It looks like when you hit the super and you get those fire wings. Like, but that's just what I think. Continue with your story.
So, yeah, like, this is the only evidence I would have that I could actually cite. But my personal opinion is Bungie has a big problem on their hands, because this is going to be the Halo nostalgia factor that's going to plague Destiny 2 and every Destiny game from this point on, because the nostalgia is going to be real. People fell in love with those subclasses. They were so well designed, people identify with them. If
Absolutely.
they would strip them from the game, people would rage. They would say, I want to play my subclass. I identify with it. This is part of my character. You can't take this away from me. So that kind of limits Bungie. Should we carry them over? Should we add onto them? Because there's always this trade-off. Do we introduce new stuff to Destiny 2? Or do we keep the old stuff to make the fans happy? And I think it's going to be a very, very tricky situation. No matter what they decide on, if they actually decide on bringing them into there, people are going to say they're lazy, say I don't want to play my old subclasses when I play a new game. But otherwise, if they decide to not bring them with them, people will be very upset and think of the old times and get rose tinted glasses. Just mark my words. We're going to talk a lot about Destiny 1 nostalgia in the coming years, because that's kind of what ruined the Halo. Like, didn't ruin for me, but it always detracted from my experience in the Halo community. It's that the nostalgia for the old titles always clouded the feelings towards the current titles. So you were never allowed to enjoy the current iteration of the game because the old ones were better. And I feel that's going to be an issue in the coming years. So no matter what they do, I personally believe they're going to introduce something new. They're going to make a mixture, maybe just expand on the subclasses. But yeah, no matter what they do, there's going to be some issues with the community.
Right, and I've really been thinking a lot about this, and you're totally right. No matter what they do, there's going to be some kind of pushback. I feel like they have a really, a good set of skills, fun set of skills that people have learned to become part of, and yeah, I feel like probably what they will do, because they're Bungie, is they'll keep one of the old ones behind, and then they'll re-release that at some point. So it'll be like 2 of the old ones and 2 of the new ones. I don't know, but even that seems like it's not enough, and it's too much. Agrios, do you think that these subclasses from Destiny 1 are moving forward?
I don't think that they'll move forward in the same state that they are.
So are you talking about minor alteration or major alteration? And I'm not talking about like visual effects. I'm talking about the core inner workings of like if they got rid of Fireborn, for instance, that would change Sunsingers tremendously.
Man, I really don't know. I feel like that's such a fundamental part of them that it would be missed, but I also feel like change is refreshing. I think if you didn't have them there in some semblance of their current form, it would be challenging lore-wise. Because Sunsingers coming back to life and Titan smashing and bubbling and things is hardcore written into the lore. Like, hardcore written into the lore. Like, right. These are, arts passed down for, ever and stuff. So there's going to be some sort of really, really intense lore source for there to be major changes, like Fireborn doesn't even exist anymore. Now, do I think that they could still fit the lore and the basic function while being overhauled to the point where they don't even play in any way resembling the way they played in Destiny 1? Yes, I think that's possible too.
Excellent. Jez, what do you think? Are they showing up, these current subclasses? Do you think they'll carry over into Destiny 2?
Well, the biggest problem Bungie now has for Destiny 2 is when you look at like all the archetypes of like a traditional RPG, they've kind of covered them all.
Okay.
So they either have to recover them, just reuse them again, or find some weird in between. The only thing that they haven't done is like a nature type deal. So I don't know. They have to bring these ones forward because people will be like, "Oh, I'm not getting it if I can't have a golden gun."
Right, right. I could definitely see that. And you're right. Yeah. They have covered quite a bit.
So apart from them adding weird things like druids that conjure spirits or something, Agrios has probably hit the nail on the head and said that they're just gonna basically take what they have and change it slightly, and they're good.
We also haven't gotten any ice. We have solar, but we don't have the opposite temperature of that.
Oh, I was thinking more like in like something like Dungeons and Dragons, you have the Paladin, which is very much your Defender Titan. You have the Warrior, which is closer to your Striker Titan. Or no, that's probably closer to your Sunsinger Titan or Sunsinger. Your Solar Titan, and then you also have Barbarian, which is closer to your Striker Titan. Like they all fit a certain class. There's Ranger Hunters, which is a Shadow Shot. There's closer to a Rogue Hunter, which is your Arcblade. The last one doesn't really count because there's no guns in Dungeons and Dragons, but yeah.
There's crossbows.
Magic missiles. I would say that's
Well,
kind of a golden gun.
Magic missiles, you're getting closer to a Warlock. A Warlock can be your magic missiles. There's your Scatter Shot.
Yeah.
Sending
Nova
out the
Bomb.
3 beams. With Nova Bomb. Nova Bomb also covers things like fire. Covers things like a fireball elementalist. Then Sunsinger is, I don't know. Probably closer to a sorcerer. And probably Tickle Fingers is close to sorcerer as well.
Tickle Fingers. Sharks.
So with the new system, the new game coming out on the next gen systems, they're not going to be held back by the same sort of memory issues and design limitations on the old systems. What I'm looking for and hoping for, along with a bit of a revamping of each of the existing classes, is simply more subclasses to choose from, more variety in how I can decide to tackle the Nightfall and whatnot, more different ways I can beat things. I want the new subclasses to be very creative angles on things too. Like I enjoy some of the tactics that you can kind of like come up with, some of the synergies they have built into different subclasses working together. I'd like to see even more of that through more subclasses. And we can learn to harness the darkness. You can have subclasses based around like gravitational forces, things like that. Like I know that kind of falls in the void. You'd have to be very clearly to define that from like void, but like I think there are other types of effects out there that could be explored besides just the traditional elements.
Well, one thing that I would like for them to do is actually get rid of subclasses. I would like for in Destiny 2, instead of like, oh, you pick this subclass and you get access to these abilities, it's more of a tree. So you pick your super, and then from there you branch off in one direction to another direction, but they share between the other supers, so you don't so you can kind of choose the direction you want to go with your subclass that way, instead of having 3 distinct subclasses.
That's really interesting. And that way also you could camouflage the fact that you're reusing these subclasses if you just had this big web, like, oh, 3/4 of this came from our last game, but look, it's all different now.
It's a Shadow Shot that uses proximity grenades.
That sounds pretty cool. All right, Sharks, what do you make of this? Are they packing our favorite subclasses and moving them to Destiny 2 or what?
No. I'm the more and more information you hear and what people are talking about in the community, and we know that Bungie's listening. I think more and more people are trying to convince, and it doesn't make a difference if they convince Bungie at this point now anyways, because they have already got everything all set up. The only thing they might not have done at this point would be some of the acting, the voice acting and stuff, but I think even that, most of that's probably pretty close to getting done. But the community is really saying that they want a new game. And based off of what leaks and stuff that we've heard, I think we are getting a new game, and you are not going to see stuff from Vanilla Destiny brought into that new game. It just, like you say, like everybody's saying on this panel right now, people would be upset with certain things, and it's like Fuzzle said, it's reusing content and stuff like that. That is, and I don't think they want to do that. And I don't think any game manufacturer has ever really done that and gotten away with it. This game is not World of Warcraft. That's a thing that everybody has always said, this is an MMO, it's going to continue and all that stuff. It's not. That's not what this game is. And it's definitely not what Destiny 2 is going to be. It's not going to be connected like that. It's going to be a separate game. So I can't see them bringing forward a Nova Bomb. They could potentially call it This is a Nova Bomb and have something completely different, just so you have an idea, so you have that connection with the old game. Or there's the possibility of, okay, let's say the next game you are taken off-world or whatever, and you are given this opportunity to get this new power, but you have to give up something. So you're going to give up your powers that you've learned before, but you're going to learn this super awesome darkness power or water power or whatever. I agree with Jez. I think that it would be cool if they do some kind of a tree system with whatever that it is that they're doing to really branch out so that you can really pick and choose a lot more and give you a lot more opportunities to do. This is kind of like a plug for Guardian One's Guardian Radio's new thing. Mark Turkin and KW started this Paragon radio, and so I decided I haven't played Paragon. I went and watched it though, and they play with all these cards, and you do all these different maneuvers and supers and stuff with all these cards. It's a tree system, so I think something like that implemented into Destiny, would be really neat. But who knows? Who knows if they're going to do something like that? But I bet a lot right now that Destiny 2 is going to be vastly different than what our game is right now.
Excellent answer, Sharks. I don't like it. I'm agreeing more with Agrios, but really good answer. I just know that I would rather Bungie look a square in the face and say, this is your Voidwalker. This is the natural iteration of where it was. Here it is again. If you want to play with it, go for it. Than them try and come up with a new Voidwalker, but call it something else and have it do basically the same thing. And you know what? I'm not even against them renaming it, but I don't want them to try and pawn it off as something that is new and different. If it is not new and different, I would feel much happier. And I feel like at this point in my Destiny game playing that I have a really great idea what each of these subclasses is capable of, and I'm able to get the job done with the tools that I've been given. I am excited about finding out what.
That's the problem right there. That then you're just playing the same old game.
Maybe. Why don't we move on to another subject?
Wait, I don't get to say what. Son of a bitch.
Foiled again by Remy.
I'm just joking, Gray. Of course, I want to know what you have to say on this. What are your feelings on this? I know that you haven't played a whole lot of Destiny and that your wife is super cool and plays a lot of Destiny, but I think it's important for you to throw in your comments as well. Please tell us what you think.
Yeah, so there's subclasses in the game. I think that what I think Destiny's or Bungie is going to do with subclasses. I think that there's too much lore and story that's just integral to the subclasses as they stand today. It would be pretty rough from the continuity of the story to pull them out. I think that they're going to keep them in as they are, but I think that the perks, the nodes, are going to be slightly different. Maybe you have smoke grenades, but they're not the same smoke grenades from Destiny 1. They operate differently. They actually influence a different mechanic, so it feels like you're playing a different game, even if it's very similar or very related to the experience you had in Destiny 1. I also think that because people were very excited when they released the third subclasses, it would be very positive for the Destiny fan base and the player base if they did release a fourth subclass. I don't know what it would be. I don't know how they'd tie that into the lore so that it seemed like it had just good continuity with the story. But something happens that unlocks something in the Guardians that hadn't been unlocked before, and now Guardians have gained this power that nobody even knew about existed, and we get to experience it in Destiny 2. That'd be kind of a cool thread to pull on and unravel in Destiny 2.
You mean when Lady SD takes us to the people somewhere else that like she won't tell us about yet? And we get our fourth subclass there?
Yeah. The pacifists have this extreme power that they haven't shared with anyone, and we get to tap into that. I really like Jez's idea of being able to almost build your character, your guardian, across subclasses. Not so much like some of the RPG games where if you play long enough you can unlock everything, and now here you're a super guardian in the Crucible because you can actually do everything, and you're playing against people who can't do everything. But I kind of like the idea of maybe having a limit on how many nodes you can unlock simultaneously, but you can build it across the subclasses, so you can have some aspects incorporated into your guardian. That would actually make me feel more like this is my guardian than being locked into just this is the one subclass and I'm limited to my build to just what this allows. I think that's really hard from a developer standpoint. I mean, just imagine what cheeses could be created if you knew that you could unlock nodes across separate subclasses and have them active at the same time. Who even knows what different mechanics could come out of that are game breaking. But if they can make it work, I think it'd be really neat to do. I think it'd make me feel more connected to what I'm building that guardian to be. Because right now, what do we have? We have our clothes, right? We have our gear, we have our weapons, and that's who defines us. Our subclass doesn't necessarily define us as well, but just imagine if you could build it across different subclasses. I think that would be a little more personal.
Okay, so this is a great answer, and the only flaw I feel that it has is something that's really been bothering me the last couple of weeks. On that investors call, and I need someone to look up this quote for me because maybe I'm misremembering it, but they said something about making Destiny more accessible. And so when I think about making Destiny more accessible, I hear let's dumb down Destiny because it's too complicated. And if anything, I really, 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 really want more in Destiny.
They didn't say more accessible. They said more accessible to other people. So new people coming in, it would be acceptable for them. This goes into what I'm saying where you're not going to get your gear, right? Okay, if it's accessible for new players to come in and play, they're going to be able to go and get all that same gear, and it's going to be fun, or whatever, not the same gear. They're going to be able to go and get this new gear, and it's going to be accessible for them to get to the same point that you are now. Even though there's a year one Guardian playing right next to me, it wouldn't be accessible if I'm playing against that year one Guardian that has all this stuff sitting in that vault, and I can use whatever the hell I want. So that's what they were saying. It's accessible to new players.
But
that's what they said.
The problem I have with that, Gray, are you looking this up for me? Jez, are you looking this up for me?
I'm looking it up too, but accessible could also mean it's just going to be on PC.
Well, okay, but so but the problem, Sharks, with what you're thinking there is that I don't feel like there's ever been a more accessible time in Destiny's lifespan than right now. Being able to pick up the game right now and be able to march basically right up to 400 with what feels to me like very, very little effort compared to Forever 29 in year one. Like I feel like right now is the most accessible in your definition, in that definition.
You have a vault full of, okay, we'll just go off of exotics, right? You have a vault full of exotics. That's super accessible for you. That would not be accessible for a new player because it's going to take a very, very long time to get all of those exotics. That's why I'm saying it the way I'm saying there. I'm not saying that's exactly what they mean, but
the other thing is you don't know how they want the pacing to be in Destiny 2. I would say most people agree the pacing is too fast in Destiny 1. So imagine if they slowed the pacing way down in Destiny 2 to the point where you had to level up so much, slower than previously. People who came into it having everything from Destiny 1 would be a huge advantage in a situation like that, especially if you scale it a lot slower in Destiny 2.
But that, I think, is working the opposite direction, right? That's not making it more accessible to a new player. That's making it, hey, we should do a sleep check. Fuzzle, are you still there? Oh, he's sleeping.
Had to unmute myself. Sorry. I'm still alive. Like talking English there's a lot of blood popping everywhere. So.
Oh my god.
Okay, that sounded wrong. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna mute myself.
There's definitely an emergency going on here, but I'm liking being on your show.
Whoops.
The stitches can wait. I appreciate that, Fuzzle. Okay. You're a good guy.
Fuzzle's been really quiet. Why don't we have him peep in at this point? What do you think? Do you think that any of us have even close to what it might be, or do you have something way off the other side of the page that says, oh no, it might be like this instead?
I'm totally out of the picture right now. Sorry. I dozed off a little. Could you elaborate on what the topic right now, so I might remember?
Okay,
I think he forgot what the topic was.
So what this is about is this was a follow-up to the investors call where the person says the cornerstone of that is a great cinematic story that's been a real focus with a great cast of memorable, relatable characters coupled with some very nice ways to make the game more accessible to a casual player. And I feel like Destiny is a very casual game.
You should read the next line though.
Okay, it says, without losing anything that our core players love, we've made it more accessible to someone who just wants to have a great, more casual first-person action experience. And this sounds like going from Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 2, and I did not appreciate that difference in weaponry and gear. I felt like it dumbed the game down.
It sounds more like going from playing the PvE to the PvP, where the PvP is much more casual in the sense that you don't need the perfect gear, you just need gear. And then you just play.
I like that.
Well, especially like when the game first started and leveling and stuff. Now people have found the ways to exploit that, but yeah. Like, because light level doesn't matter, you can play with anyone, with any level gear. That's it. That's what
Destiny is so accessible right now. Like everyone I know that just recently picked up, like, I got a copy of Rise of Fire of the Destiny collection for free, and I just gave it to a friend, and he could immediately pick everything up. I told him to not get to level 40 immediately, but he just leveled to 40 quickly normally, and the things I did in many hours of playing, he kind of just breezed through. We did the first raid. He just, whoops, this is also easy. Oh yeah, it was super hard back then, believe me. So it's Destiny is kind of into the direction of becoming more accessible for casual players. I'm a casual player, by the way, and just if you have a friend that wants to play with you, you could do that now, and that's amazing. But we've come to a point where I say, okay, stop. It's becoming a little bit too accessible now. Like, there's some things I would like to remain grindy, things I would like to remain rare to come across, like a weapon that's like an exotic that's extremely rare. Like, that's why I'm such a enemy of 3 of coins, by the way, is because all exotics are super lame, like, because everyone has them and just gets them thrown at him. That's why I stopped collecting them. So I kind of want to. I'm always very cautious when I hear the word more accessible.
Me too.
So I kind of want to pull the brakes a little bit on the development it's going. It's become great from this grindy run in a circle to collect materials on the moon to this right now is amazing. I love what they've done. But I don't want it to become any more casual anymore. Hey, I log on once a week and I get 400 gear. And yeah, and maybe being accessible means more matchmaking options. That would be amazing. But
so what I'm thinking is when I log into Elder Scrolls Online, which I did today, the only thing I did today was browse all of the new houses available because for some reason I am so excited about having my own little corner of the world, and I so very badly want an apartment in Destiny. I want an apartment that I can decorate and go to and hang out. And so what I did today was just hang out in Elder Scrolls Online and just go through and preview all the houses.
Nice.
Some of them are fantastic. They're so cool. And some of them are just the tiniest little shithole. What?
There's something else that thinking about it, and the more and more we're talking about this, the other thing that they might be talking about as far as more accessible for a more casual player, and this kind of goes off of the other thing that they said in that investment call, is they said more oh darn, why can't I think what it's called? More videos and stuff in the game, cinematics and stuff. So maybe you're talking about more of a story-driven game. So, what was it? In total, if you play Destiny from start to finish and just do the storyline right now with all the expansions, you're only talking about maybe a 3-hour game, maybe. I don't know. It might be longer than that.
I don't know. I think it's much longer than 3 hours.
Okay, but if you talk about getting a brand new game, like if you go and play Drake's Fortune, the original storyline of that game is like a 6-8 hour game, and that was it without any expansion. So maybe that's how they're talking about that. It's more accessible for a player coming in and just playing a little bit, because they're actually going in there and they're doing something with all that story content. While the big time gamers, they go and do that story content, but then they go and do the raid every week and the Nightfalls every week and so on and so on and so on. So maybe that's the other part to it that we're missing.
Well, okay, but see, what my point is that in between checking out these houses, I thought, oh, you know what I'll do? I'll go out and play with my character for a minute and test out its abilities and whatever. Right before I stopped playing, I wiped all of my abilities off of my hotbars because I thought, I need to redo this. These are in some, I need to redo this whole section. And so now I'm going through all of the skills and I'm absolutely lost. And I'm happy with this because there's this whole other side of trying to figure out what all these things do and which one's better and worse. And that I want it to be more that way. I want more options. I don't want less, and so I'm really glad that we had this conversation because, that's what I do. I'll call Jez and I'll be like, hey, Jez, I need you to be real with me, but save my feelings a little bit. And so he'll give it to me real. And then he'll say to me, but you know what? That's probably worst case scenario. And, people want to make money, so they're probably not going to do that. And then I feel all better. So, it's really been bothering me. And I'm glad that I brought it up to you guys because everything that you said does match up to this idea that accessible may not mean, because I'm really reading Duplo. I want Lego. They gave us Mega Blocks, and now we're talking about Duplo. This is the stages that I'm thinking that we're at, and I don't want Destiny to be that way. When I look at Elder Scrolls Online, I see a very, very hearty game. I see a lot of time spent. I can put time into it, and that's something Destiny is fairly shallow as far as that goes. So we don't need more accessibility.
Remy, I'll tell you what the best case scenario is. Come Destiny 2, you'll level your character up to 40, go to Eververse and buy yourself an entire set of gear.
For
yeah,
99.
Super accessible.
That is worst case scenario. I agree. That is too accessible. Agrios, did you have anything you wanted to throw back onto this?
Nah.
All right, we should get moving unless anyone else has anything they want to add to this. Sweet. Why don't we throw to you, Agrios, with the news?
All right, you guys just shout real loud if my connection goes foobar. All right. So
why you're not going to hear it?
Yeah, I was gonna say, if your connection's going down, you're not gonna hear it.
Immediately died.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Am I okay? You guys got the email, right? One of you guys just needs to cover the news because this is going to be terrible if I'm trying to read this.
No, just keep talking.
It's fine.
Okay. All right. So this week's senior designer Josh Hamrick filled us in on some of the planned adjustments going forward. Before he begins, he warns us, I have to state these changes could see some iteration before they make it to you. The important thing to know is that this iteration could change the details or even, though it's unlikely, entirely kill them. More likely, they'll ship. So for sidearms, they say, we are currently working on a change that will allow sidearms to continue to spawn with a set amount of ammo post-death, but keep them from stacking anything extra. They'll be handy if you run into resistance on your way to the ammo crate, but to keep your sidearm usage high, you'll still need to stock up.
Rip.
The change currently in testing requires a kill to jumpstart Scory's unique ability for the next minute. Once it times out, you'll need another kill to jumpstart it again. We believe you won't have any problems killing one enemy every 60 seconds for maximum uptime in PvE, but trials may offer a greater challenge. For truth, they say, we are looking into adding one additional rocket to your backpack and bumping truth to the max rocket launcher reload. Anything less than 2 in the chamber, truth is dead to me. No Land Beyond, we found a potential workaround for making No Land Beyond flinch like the sniper rifle it is. This will require a good amount of testing, but we think it's a good change. Keep your shooting clean and you'll still pop heads like nothing ever changed, but falling behind in a head-to-head primary fight will likely be a death sentence. And for Blink, I'm pretty excited about this, because I think it's appropriate. We are looking for removing the old recovery nerf entirely. Additionally, we're looking into pulling back the time you're HUDless by just a bit. With all the other changes to the current meta, what was done to Blink initially, I don't think is at all necessary anymore. These will join fixes for the health regen perks that they announced in an update earlier this week. In the earlier release, Josh Hamrick elaborated, having an enemy's ability to attack, having an enemy's ability or attack be able to completely erase any progress you've made and completely reset an encounter feels bad. Also, when one-hit kill weapons are less dominant for those abilities and attacks become more dominant, they are much harder to stop. This change allows abilities and attacks to still recover large portions of health and buy themselves more time without completely had come before. So, in light of this, for the Hungering Blade, Red Death, Lifesteal, Transfusion, and Cauterize, although for the last two they're removing the cooldown, they're going to keep the change, but buff the amount of health you get back by 58%. Now, mind you, health and shields are two separate things. So, for all the rest, they're going to be reverting the change entirely, and that includes Saurus Regime, no backup plans, the Word of Dawn cast, Apotheosis Veil, and Embrace the Void. So, I think this is definitely going in the right direction. I wasn't a huge fan of the change overall to begin with. I could see how, maybe Hungering Blade needed it, but for it to just blanket affect all these things, I wasn't really digging that. So, and finally, Nutty McNutface is a lazy name for a squirrel, and you all know it, which is a reference to a very amusing post on the subreddit this past week. So, Fuzzle, in light of these changes coming to, the recent changes, is this overall positive for you or negative, or what do you think? Enough, not enough?
Just all in all, just seeing this form of engagement and communication from Bungie is incredible. I want to see this all the time. Just keep us up to date on the things they just think about, things they want to do. If they don't work, okay. And if the community actually holds this against them and just says, "Hey, you promised this to us, and now we riot," then I would say, okay, you gave us the chance, and you can now stop with the communication again. But right now, this is perfectly what we need. I agree with all the changes, and I'm usually not. I don't have strong opinions on PvP related things. I'm just along for the ride. I just do whatever is fun, and personally, this is perfect.
Hold on one second, and we'll keep going with this. I just wanted to mention that I wrote it up. I wrote up a post, a poll. Wrote up a poll on the Guardian 1 Twitter account. Do you think the current subclasses will be in Destiny 2 in some form, or will we only see new subclasses? And 109 votes. 26 say yes. 26% say yes. Mostly unaltered will show up in Destiny 2. 45% say yes. Mostly altered. And 27% say no. Totally new. And 2% say other, and that 2% is Unilala says, I think we'll have slightly tweaked one with a fourth for each. Also hoping for one new race, which would be really cool. And Bell Bunny says, I think there will be, and I wouldn't say mostly altered, but for sure some changes and maybe one new one each. So thank you, Unilala and Bell Bunny, and to the 107 other people who did this. So I put it for 7 days. So when we come back next week, we'll have an entire week of answers under the belt, or no one will interact with this poll again, and I won't bring it up next week. It's definitely going to blow up crazy, or I'm just going to forget about it. Agrios, as you were.
Continuing.
Oh, wait.
We need to discuss some of this.
I want to discuss this. Okay, first off, what we're not taking into consideration that you have not come up with in that post is these are potential changes. These are not set in stone.
Oh, I was very clear about that.
Okay, I do agree with both you and Fuzzle that it's really, really awesome that they are communicating with us. I always love it when Bungie communicates with us, even if it's not very much information. This is a lot of information. This is really great. And I almost wonder if when they brought Josh Hamrick back, that was kind of the idea. You're going to be our face to the community, because the main part of the community right now is based in PvP land until whatever happens in the future. But I do like that they're communicating with us. I think that some of those changes were definitely needed. Others, maybe not so much. But, you know, I almost said it at the beginning today instead of, saying Fuzzles on the show. It's like, oh, can't we keep a meta for more than 2 weeks? But, it's going to be interesting to have a change so quickly, because it is going to change the meta. We've got some really cool stuff coming up next week to see how this meta works. And then maybe not too many weeks after, it's all going to change again. But hey, I've always said this before, I like change and I like information. So keep it coming, Bungie.
Excellent.
Yeah, I have a few thoughts on this too. So I played just a ton of trials this weekend. Really wanted to dive into what this meta was doing. And this is stuff that I saw, not too shocking development. That's exactly right. Everybody knew that when you're out of special ammo, you're going to switch to sidearms, so you at least have something there instead of just, nothing. And then I'm fine with them letting that play out to see, is this actually a problem? And they actually said that in their other post with the health regen. Unintended consequence of that nerf affecting more things than they wanted. They deployed it out. They knew that it was unintended, but they said, let's see how this thing plays out. Let's see if it actually is negative for the game or if it's positive for the game. What's interesting is I'm curious to see how fast they can respond, right? If they're comfortable letting things go out in the wild that are unintended, it's going to be really curious to see if it is bad, how comfortable and how quick are they to actually respond and change it back to something that they want it to be. I think that the sidearm thing is fine. I think sidearms are in a good place. I don't think that they're so great that having a little bit of extra ammo makes them too OP. The scory thing I thought was interesting because we discussed that last week on the podcast as a potential fix for camping stories, or at least within the last couple weeks. So while this is something I'm sure that Bungie had been thinking about, I think it's just interesting that the community as well threw this out as an idea of a way to prevent long, drawn-out games because of people trying to camp scories in PvP. Truth, I'm kind of with Agrios. Do what you want with Truth. It's dead to me. No Land Beyond. No Land Beyond kicked my ass so many times in trials this last weekend because I would consistently forget in the second, third, fourth, fifth rounds that there's a chance that there could be snipers out there, and I would go into a sniper lane, especially on Black Shield where there's a lot of sniper lanes, thinking, well, nobody's going to have special ammo, so I can use this lane, and No Land Beyond will shut you down. And there was lots of times where I would have the jump, and Remy, you've had this complaint about snipers before. You get the jump on the guy, you load a couple shots into him, and they can hold out and they can still snipe you down. The flinch just isn't enough. And with No Land, it's the same type of situation. There were many times in 50-50 battles that I was landing shots, and they would still be able to get that precision shot on me. So I'm really happy that they're going to be doing something now that No Land is so much stronger in the meta. They need to do something to make sure that it isn't going to be just the go-to weapon, especially in trials. Something to make the other weapons competitive against it. I don't give a crap about Blink. I don't use Blink. I can't use Blink. I'm terrible at it. And Nutty McNutface is a perfect name for that post, a squirrel name. Read the post. It's hilarious. In fact, we'll link it here in the chat so you can go see it. And I'm really glad they responded to that because it shows that they've got a good sense of humor as well.
I wanted to read it. I wanted to do it as a play. It's written in the style of a play. I was going to see which one of you wanted to be who, and then we were going to act it out here. I thought that would be funny.
Sucks.
But but that hasn't materialized, and we're running out of time here. Unless you guys think we should do it.
I'm shaking my head.
Let's take a poll. Do another poll on Twitter and see if people want us to do an audio drama of that writing.
It's really funny. And just imagine it would have been even funnier.
I'd be down.
All right. Me and Agrios, we will do it. A two-man show. Continue.
Iron Banner's coming up Tuesday, February 28th, 10 a.m. Pacific, till Tuesday, March 7th at 1 a.m. Pacific. Supremacy is back. New meta. Supremacy was the first Iron Banner under Rise of Iron, and now we'll get another chance at it when it's not necessarily shotgun heaven. Should definitely be a different ball game there. Lady Aphrodite is going to be bringing snipers, hand cannons, helmets, and boots. I'm looking to get some good rules on some helmets, so that's pretty nice. And I'll tell you what, I have a lingering song with mulligan explosive rounds and something else okay. And it's a lot of fun in the new meta. The super high impact hand cannon with explosive rounds is definitely a lot of fun in the new meta. So I'll be looking for interesting rules on that. Are you guys excited about Supremacy coming back in the new meta, Remy?
Hell yeah.
Really? Not even with the new meta? Not another you're not willing to give it another, we'll see, thumbs up, thumbs down with the new meta? No, just straight to...
I feel like it's going to be still caca. I feel like it's not going to be...
I love Supremacy. I'm just hoping I don't not love it anymore.
Have you played any PvP since the change?
Yeah, I really... not a lot, but enough for me to realize how much I love the AS Luna. Like how much I really enjoy certain hand cannons. There's like a minimum rate of fire that I need in order to feel like my brain is processing all of this correctly. And I don't remember which one it was, but I used a hand cannon that I thought I was going to enjoy, and it was just so slow firing that I just couldn't use it. And the AS Luna is fantastic.
Okay, so wait, no, I don't mean to cut you off. I want to hear what you like and whatnot. But so why are you not excited about trying Supremacy again?
Bad taste in my mouth. Also, wins in Iron Banner don't count towards the book, and I have like 5 out of 20 wins that I need to get done.
What? You knocked out in like one night.
Yeah, maybe. I am excited Iron Banner's coming back, and I am excited to I'll probably do the 3 or 4 bounties on each character, or on one character on each system, and I don't know. I feel like shotguns will be back for Supremacy. I recognize that there's been a steep drop off, but I feel like with how fast Supremacy is a very fast game, and I feel like it's going to. It will be the exception to the rule. Yeah, sure. Sidearms have received a 45% increase in use. I feel like Supremacy is going to be the same thing. But I mean, I guess we'll see. And you know what? It's funny, now that the meta has changed, I haven't really used the Tressapper at all. Like, I've just been using the hand cannon because I feel like it plays right into the perfect, like right where I expect to play versus people, like when I engage them. What's that?
Why can't you use both?
I don't need to. I've just been handling my business with AS Luna. Like,
oh, but what do you rule him for your secondary though?
Tressapper.
Oh, okay. You just mean you're just not using it as much to get the kills.
Yeah. So what it is that with the DIS 47 Tressapper combo, I have like medium to long range engagements, and then anything closer than the farthest medium, and I have to switch to the Tressapper right away because people are closing ground so quickly. With the hand cannon, the closer they get, the bigger the target is for me with this hand cannon, and I just mow them over. Like what's that?
I just thought of something. I didn't mean to cut you off there. I just thought of it. Some guy asked us a question last week about what you think the most underrated primary is. We've had a little bit of time now. Let's go ahead and tack that onto this conversation too. What do you think is the most underrated primary in the new meta? Mine's the Arminus D with high caliber rounds.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't. Maybe that's where my experience is lacking. I've played enough games with this one new setup that I feel like I've moved right from one rut that works for me to another rut that works for me. So I haven't really strayed from that yet.
By the way.
Well, yeah, I guess so. Gray, what is your take on all this?
Well, while he's muted, I wanted to say that Agros was right when he first started that sentence, saying, what is a sidearm you're using? Because, 54% of all secondary kills are sidearm now?
Totally.
Which is grossly what not it should be. And that's not how that sentence should be either, but it's close enough.
It's interesting because it's clearly having part of the intended effect, which was to bring shotguns down. Like, there was a problem. Everyone was going to shotguns, and it has brought them so far down. That's the reason I think that Supremacy is going to suck, is because I feel like people overcompensated, and now I feel like people are going to have played with their primaries for so long that it's not going to matter if I don't have shotgun rounds right now. I will soon enough.
See, the problem is, it's not so much that they brought shotguns down so much and put sidearms up, because they didn't really touch sidearms.
Yeah.
The thing is, now people that are used to using their shotgun switch to a sidearm and realize, hey, it's actually pretty decent.
Totally. And I see a lot of people complaining about about sidearms and why do they keep ammo? Why do you keep spawning with ammo with it? And I saw somebody had posted, sidearms were never a problem. Sidearms, nobody ever complained about sidearms before they took away your special ammo when you died.
I want to hear what Fuzzle's take on this is, and also based off of what he's seeing on Reddit, and then I want to pipe in and say something.
Man, that's a really good point, Sharks. And what we should have done was thought up a bunch of questions that he would have seen. Here's the 1,000 requests for this. We could probably really pin some info down. Fuzzle, what do you make of this?
I mean, we kind of cut out Gray, so you might want to finish his thought. But in general, the whole PvP community is the Reddit community is they're two different sides right now. Maybe you've seen the triple rec post about the current meta. That kind of sparked a positive community surrounding the patch. There's some people that just are in heaven right now, so they can engage people that just don't shotgun them in the face 99% of the time, and just have primary fights again. Like, that's crazy. So there's definitely that part. But of course, always people say, "Oh, what weapon do I get killed the most with?" Sidearms. So people are gonna be saying, okay, we totally need a nerf because that's the healthiest change you can make right now, which is totally bullshit, in my opinion. If we nerf everything, the game is not fun. Like, extreme balance, like balancing everything for me in a game makes it less fun. Like there has to be like a certain type of balance, but only that super niche weapons have to counter each other, not like everything has the same time to kill. And just Destiny PvP has always been this amazing, crazy chaos for me, which I personally love. But if we make it like Halo, for example, just you always have a chance with Halo weapons. It to the point that it became a little bit sterile, and I don't know. I'm personally in favor of having powerful weapons and having niche weapons and countering each other. So blanket nerfs to everything make Destiny less fun.
I definitely see what you're saying, and I definitely agree with you. But for me, there definitely was something to the fact that if I had an assault rifle, an auto rifle, and they had an assault rifle, then what it came down to was skill. Like I feel like part of what Destiny does is it puts in between you grinding to get the best roll on these weapons, so that what you're doing is you're leveling that playing field so that it comes back down to skill. So sterile, perhaps, leaning on skill, definitely. So.
Especially now, Remy, where the player base has shrunk down to the level it's at, that the likelihood that you're going to be matching up in PvP against somebody who has an excellent roll on that weapon that they're engaging with is a lot higher. You're not typically going to find people engaging with you that have standard rolls, or even, just don't. A lot of people just don't care what weapon they're using, right? That are going in there to have just a good time, and that group of players, that player base, isn't really playing Destiny right now. It seems like the people I run into are ones that have thought about their loadouts, they've set up their character, they've picked their weapons, they've looked for those god rolls, and that's who they're going to engage you with.
Totally. Well, in the Halo days, they had ranked playlists and they had social playlists. So the people that aren't playing right now, or the people who would be going into the social playlist, I think I played 5 ranked games in all of my Halo career, just because I knew in the social blade I was going to come across more people like myself who were just interested in having a good time. I wasn't necessarily trying to push myself to the brink every single time I played. And like you're saying, that's what's currently in Destiny. The people who are currently playing Destiny are the ones who are either trying to grind for something special or have already played enough that they have something special.
Maybe that's how Bungie's going to make Destiny 2 more accessible.
That would be
playlist.
Cool.
Okay, so what I wanted to chime in with is, we've been hearing a lot of stuff throughout the community ever since this patch came in. They're just changing one meta for another. Everything's sidearms, this and that, blah, 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 blah. And then they come with the weekly update this week, and they're going to change it. They're looking at changing it because they see that it's an issue. Okay, and I understand where, it always happens. People are going to look for this new meta, and you're going to see that a lot. Okay, but I think personally, I think that the way Crucible is right now, not counting Trials. Trials is a little bit of a different beast, okay? But I'm talking about all the other playlists, because I played a lot of the other playlists this week. I didn't get to play any Trials. I didn't have time. But with those other playlists, everything is so even keel with so many of the secondary guns that it's really, people are not ruling the roost. Okay, it's been a long time where I go into every single match on my own. I'm matchmaking on my own. I'm not matchmaking with somebody that's got really low ELO. And I am mopping up every single game. Don't sit here and tell me that, Wormwood is the beast and you're going to die from it every time. No, you just have to know to counter it. Okay, the way that PvP is playing right now, it is a primary game. And this is why having No Land Beyond as a primary sucks for like Trials, for instance, because it is a primary game right now. You're not relying on shotguns, you're not relying on snipers. And it's just really funny. Everybody complains, and I think it was Dr. Lupo that put it best. He goes, the good people, and I'm not quoting him properly, but this is as close as I'm going to get. The good people will deal with the meta, and the bad people will complain about it. And that's exactly what's going on right now, is that people are complaining about something that really isn't broken. If you go in and play PvP, what it should be is a primary game, and it is. And people don't know how to play primary game. That's why I'm mopping up with them. I hate, and I have told everybody this, I hate Mayhem. Okay, when I can go into Mayhem and play entire matches, not throwing supers, not throwing grenades, just using primary, not even secondaries or heavies, and not die and kill everybody else on the team, and my team wins, that means that something's really changed in the meta, and that's a good thing. All right, so I think people need to play more and really get playing to it, and that's why I asked you if you were excited about Supremacy, because that's one of the things that I went in and played to see how different it was going to be. It's not going to be a shotgun. It's not going to be a sidearm. It's not going to be a sniper. It's going to be shooting each other with primaries, running around and playing smart. And that's what's exciting. This is what this game has needed for a long, long time. And Bungie has gotten so close to having it perfect. I love it.
That's exactly what I said last week, was that I could feel the meta through Mayhem. Like, I was downing a lot of people with my primary, and it wasn't just a reliance on supers or abilities. I could feel and work my way through using my primary, and it feels good, and it feels weird to just play primary. Like AS Luna is really good for the style of play that I do. I do, however, very much need Hidden Hand, because like I've been doing that thing where you sweep across the player and then just shooting right at that one moment, and it's really been working out well. It's a lot of fun, and I can't believe that people do that with snipes. That's crazy.
One thing I wanted to mention to our listeners, if you're a player like me, I tend to gravitate towards the meta because I want to put myself in a position to have the highest likelihood of winning an encounter against another Guardian. So, say what you will about that mindset. I try to put myself and learn the weapons that are going to give me the best advantage. And sometimes that means I use weapons that I don't really like using that much. Universal Remote, for as much crap as Remy gives me about it, is not really my favorite weapon to use, but I wanted to become good at that weapon when it was necessary in that season of the meta. And I actually really like that about Destiny. I think some people don't like the weapon balance changes. They don't like Bungie screwing with their game. I actually love the idea of knowing that, hey, here's a season in PvP where I'm going to learn how to use auto rifles. Fast rate of fire, low impact auto rifles for a while. Now it switches up. Now I have to learn pulse rifles. Now I have to go and I learn sidearms. I'm done with the shotgun season, and I don't mind that. I know some people it bugs them, but I actually kind of like that I'm incentivized during different seasons of these weapon balance changes to learn different weapons. With that said, a little tip that I want to let people know, and this is partly R Velvet J sent this to me. After dying multiple times in trials to the Wormwood, which is the vendor, the Future War Cult vendor sidearm, is a very, very strong sidearm. If you do not have one, join Future War Cult, pick up that sidearm. The roll is very impressive, and I would say from a time to kill standpoint, nothing killed me faster from an engagement than the Wormwood. It is actually scary how fast you die from that gun.
I haven't picked it up yet. I heard a lot of people making a bunch of noise about it, and I just didn't bother myself with it. I might pick it up now. I'm always sitting on like 150 marks, so I'll just delete some other stuff from my vault. It's no big deal.
Since you're bringing up marks, I found a new way to sync money, or
Continue.
sync marks. If you are someone that got a ghost or a devil ghost, you can keep rebuying that ghost from the holiday kiosk with different rolls every time for 50 marks each.
Oh, wow. That's pretty sweet.
What happens to it?
It has a different roll every time. Like you rebuy it, and it's just like the things that you get from the iron armor. Yeah, it's like that, except you actually have to spend marks to rebuy it,
Gotcha.
And you just have to infuse it with something else to see what roll it has.
That's cool. I hear a little piece of Agrios dying inside right now. Like, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like you just heard something that you really wish that you could have a piece of.
To be fair, while yes, you had to have gotten it at one time,
I have a double.
At least you're using in-game currency to keep retrying for it.
Yeah.
That's right. You did get a deviled ghost.
Talking about stuff that you can only get one time. You can still technically get this, but I've been grinding, and I finally completed all of my Taken armor sets. Got my last today.
Wow, that took a while, especially considering how much you play.
That took a long time.
Sharks plays more than anybody here, so.
All right, so we are out of time. Agrios, is there anything you wanted to throw at us real quick?
Yeah, there were a couple things. If for the collectors out there, go to Amanda Holiday and buy the CXXII Slipper Misfits. The first time it's been sold in 604 days. The last time it was sold was during the House of Wolves, before the ship kiosks even existed. So this is by far the rarest ship in Destiny no longer. The rarest ship in Destiny now probably is still the Queen's Wrath, with the fact that it's still hard to farm and you could only have gotten it the second week. But up until today, this was definitely probably the rarest ship in Destiny, at least the only one unavailable right now. The Bungie bounty continues. We're going to have somebody from Brazil coming up. Yogondo Play is going to be the next Bungie bounty. I love the fact that they're spreading that all over the world. It was discovered you can shoot your own sticky grenades off of your enemies in Crucible, so be careful of that. And last bit of news. Movie of the week this week was a pretty decent one. It was a Planet Earth, Planet Earth parody. Go definitely check that out.
It was awesome.
Yeah, definitely check that one out. Don't miss that one. And we got some information on the new McFarlane toys this week that Sharks brought to us a few weeks ago. The Iron Gallahorn is going to be produced with a manufacturer's suggested retail of $150 to premiere in fall of 2017. This is a full-size replica that makes sounds. 10-inch Lord Saladin figure with alternate weapons and hands and heads and things for $35, fall of 2017. We have a 7-inch Iron Banner Hunter, a 7-inch King's Fall Warlock, a 7-inch Vault of Glass Titan. That one looks the sweetest, I think.
Definitely.
All coming out July 2017 for manufacturer suggested retail of $20 each. They all tell little ghost and everything.
Well, all right, what was that? They all tell what?
What?
They all tell what?
They all come with I forget what exactly I said, but they all come with weapons, signature weapons from the game. They all retail for $20, and they come with a detailed little ghost shell and everything.
Cool.
There's also
Very
a
cool.
deluxe 12-inch Gallerwing Sparrow for $35 to premiere by the holiday season.
Just note, both the Yellerhorn and the Yellerwing are Iron Yellerwing and the Iron Yellerhorn.
Interesting.
Yes.
Poo-poo.
There's more. No, but McFarlane
Series
said
2 with no ETA yet.
More stuff to come. Yep.
And they seem to be pretty detailed figures with lots of points of articulation, and everybody seems quite pleased with our first views of them so far. I think they're pretty impressive, especially at the price range they're bringing it in. That wraps up everything I got for you this week.
Excellent. Then why don't we get to some shout-outs, starting with our very special guest, Fuzzle.
Okay, that's kind of catching me off guard. So I guess
we should have warned him as well.
Do you need a minute for that? I mean, you can just plug yourself and where you're at on Twitter and the Reddit, and then if you have a shout-out for someone special at the end.
Okay, you can find me on the internet on Reddit, Fuzzle_HC, on Twitter, Fuzzle_HC, on YouTube, FuzzleHC. And I guess the shout-outs are to you guys. Thanks for having me on this show. It's awesome. It's been really awesome. Right now, it's kind of my limit. My English understanding limits are kind of at the end, but it's been amazing. Then also shout-outs to my amazing mod team, which I very dearly hold to my heart. Those guys are amazing. And in general, everyone that's been with me along for this ride, and hope we have another few years of awesome Destiny ahead of us.
Excellent. I believe that we do, and it's been really great having you here. Shout-outs, Gray.
So my shout out this week is to Oli Smokes and Dakota Dark. You know, they work really hard on putting together and trying to support the G1 movie night group, and they've actually completed the video for our second movie, but we're gonna wait to debut it on the podcast till next week. If you are in that Twitter group, it should be posted up before then, so those in the group will actually know what the movie is ahead of time. But I do just really appreciate the work that they do, and it's great quality, and it's definitely a labor of love. So my shout out goes to you guys. Thank you. You're awesome members of our Guardian 1 community.
Excellent. Sharks.
My shout out goes to everybody on Twitter who's following me and who's not following me and just happens to retweet stuff that I tweet. I love going out there and trying to get people the news. And this week, all of you had made me so happy. I got one of the biggest viewed tweets ever. So everybody that follows me, you guys are all awesome. And I definitely want to thank my friend Fuzzle for coming on tonight. It was hard to convince him to come on, but he did great. So well, I'm sure we'll be able to get you on here again. Thanks, Fuzzle.
Definitely.
Agrios.
So big thanks to Fuzzle for joining us, and thanks to all the Reddit mods over there for doing a great job keeping that being my favorite community around for Destiny. And my shout out actually goes to our former co-host Crimson Warlock, I believe it's his birthday now.
Excellent. Happy birthday, Crimson Warlock.
Happy birthday. Herzlichen Glückwunsch zum Geburtstag.
That's awesome. Okay, Jez.
Shout out to one of my first shout outs that I've ever had on the show. Shout out to Amanda Holiday for bringing that ship. Not that I wanted it, but now I have it.
Hi.
Right. I didn't realize that that was one of the ships that showed up before the kiosk. I'm surprised that I still had it. I mean, I had a fairly large collection of ships before the kiosk showed up. So I don't know. I'm going to go check and make sure that I do actually have that one on there.
The funny thing is, the rare ships technically don't have like a super rarity. It's just because it has never been here, it's rare. It's kind of like how Cookidus was super rare, and then all of a sudden it seems like it's there every other week.
Right. Wouldn't it be crazy if the rarity of the gear was dependent on how many people have popped it before? You know, like...
I thought you were going to say, I thought the rarity of the gear actually made a sense.
No,
like, uncommon gear was uncommon, rare gear was rare.
Right.
See, like, Jez, you'd like to believe that that's all, like, just, oh, yeah, just because it can randomly happen, it randomly happens that way. But I think that to me, it seems far more likely that, like, for the Cocytus and for that ship, just like that whatever that New Monarchy ship wasn't dropping because you could have that orbit one. I think, somebody at Bungie just noticed something's wrong. Oh, wait, I put an extra decimal point on this one. Move that decimal point back where it's supposed to be. We'll make it a little higher to compensate for it was missing now. And
so that makes it more likely that instead of it being rare, for the future, it'd be less rare.
Okay, thank you very much for that aside during our shout-outs.
Yeah, I like to inform everyone at every time.
Okay, so very quickly, we are resolving the problems with the website, so then we should have iTunes and everything back up here within the next couple of days, for anyone wondering. I do want to shout out also to Crimson Warlock. He was part of the show for a very long time, one of the original 3 people, part of this show, and I hope that you're out there doing well. But my big shout out is to Fuzzle, who made me feel very welcome when I received on 8/15/2014. I received this message from him, and it makes me really happy every time I go back in there and see it. It says, "I want you." I want you on my PSN friends list. And this has always stuck with me. This has always stuck with me as this is the kind of welcoming attitude and nature that I want to be around. I want to be around somebody who's not afraid to just say, hey, we should be friends. Let's be friends. Destiny had not come out yet. And I was part of this community and I received this and I really felt like, oh man, I've done it. Like somebody in the community that I look up to has reached out to me and wants me to be on their friends list. So Fuzzle, thank you very much. That was really excellent. And I will not forget that. That wraps up episode 122. We would like to thank everyone listening for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any suggestions for topics to be discussed on the show or have any comments on something that has already been covered, please leave them in the comments below or send them to feedback@guardian1.net, and we will see you next week.